Yesterday in the Emergencies Act inquiry, it just so happens that the clerk of the Privy Council office, whose pretty much only boss is the Prime Minister, I think she lied, and I need to bring this to your attention because I just so happen to have the information in my hands that she was talking about. So, welcome to the Domus Land, and let's get into this.
And at the media availability, it was announced that the Emergencies Act had been invoked,
Was being invoked.
was being invoked.
Correct.
And so what does was being invoked mean? When exactly did it come into force?
When the governor and council approved the proclamation.
And so
Which
that
was-
wasn't until
Which
the
was,
next day.
No, it was on the 14th, and you'll see that in the Canada Gazette. It was the 14th of February.
Okay. And so was there another cabinet meeting on the 14th?
So let me just clarify what we're looking at here. He asked when it came into force. Very specific term. Let's make sure we know that. And then she said that it came into force on the 14th. Now, we all know that on Valentine's Day, that was the day that the government enacted the Emergencies Act. But was that actually the day that it was actually enacted? That's the question. So this is where I want you to go down to the comments section and let me know what you think. So I'm going to show you some things. So, well, let's get into it. All right, so this is what she was talking about is the Canada Gazette, right? So that was also another keyword that was very important. And so when we look at this, if we can see my cursor, no, I got cursor turned off, my bad. Okay, so we got Tuesday, February 15th in there. Oh, look at that, we can see it. So the 15th of February, and that's for the proclamation declaring a public emergency order, right? And this was done by the, quoting the Queen and all that fun stuff. All right, so when we go to the next section here, so just to scroll back up, this is the end of that section. The witness is the, well-beloved Mary May Simon, the Chancellor, Principal, blah, 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 essentially the Governor General of Canada. And it says that the government's at our government house in the city of Ottawa this 14th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022 in the 71st year of our reign. It was proclaimed. Let's just make sure that the proclamation part of that is very certain. And the reason why I want to make sure that you understand that this was the proclamation is because we were told it was being enacted. That was a proclamation from the government. It doesn't mean it actually came into force yet, because I'm going to show you something that kind of trumps that whole thing. So going back to her saying that on the 14th it went into force, that's not exactly true, at least from what I'm seeing. If you know something that I don't, please let me know in the comments. But let's get into that part. All right, so I want to point out a couple things here. So one, registration, very key word. 2, February 15th, 2022. And this is whereas the Governor Council had, by a proclamation made pursuant by subsection 17, 1 of the Emergencies Act, declared that a public order emergency exists, right? So they declared that the day before on the 14th. And remember, registration, February 15th, and also this is dated 2022 to 15, which is February 15th. The other thing I want to point out here is in regards to this part right here, the emergency measures regulations. So this is the force that they used in the act. So I'm not going to show you all of this, but I'm just showing you some of the key parts here. All right, so if we scroll down here a little bit on this page, so coming into force. So if you remember, the lawyer asked, when did it come into force? This order comes into force on the day in which it is registered, right? So that means that it didn't come in on the 14th because it wasn't registered on the day on the 14th. And I'm going to scroll down to the next one because this one's the special economic measures, right? So we had, this one has to do with the money and the, GoFundMe and all that stuff. And then the other one has to do with the actual force with the police, right? And so if we take a look at this, registration on February 15th, 2022, and if we scroll back up, they come into force on the day in which it is registered. So,